गुड मॉर्निंग जेंटलमैन। दोस्तों, गुड मॉर्निंग। मैं आपसे एक इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक के ऊपर बात करने वाला हूँ। आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक टू यू अबाउट बांग्लादेश एंड इंडिया एंड नेपाल एंड द अदर बॉर्डर स्टेट्स ऑफ इंडिया। जो देश जो हैं जो इंडिया के साथ इंडिया की नेबरहुड फर्स्ट पॉलिसी में आते हैं, सबसे पहले तो पाकिस्तान है। एंड यू नो पाकिस्तान इज एन एनिमी सिंस 1947। और ये जो प्रॉब्लम पाकिस्तान का है, इट्स समथिंग क्वाइट डिफरेंट फ्रॉम व्हाट इट इज विद अदर प्लेसेस। दिस इज ए क्लैश ऑफ रिलीजन्स। पाकिस्तान इस्लामिक नेशन है, दे कंसिडर इंडिया टू बी ए हिंदू नेशन। हालांकि इंडिया में ऑलमोस्ट 15% मुस्लिम्स हैं, यानी 200 करोड़ इंडियंस हैं, मुस्लिम्स हैं, बट yet they consider India to be a Hindu nation, and they do not want India to become a member of the OIC, that is the Organization of Islamic States. हालांकि जो कई states who are members of the OIC are not even having a population of 10 million, while India with a population of 200 million is denied membership. इसका एक ही मतलब है कि India is lacking clout in the international sphere. That this is a point which we must note. That means with such a huge population, India is not made a member of the OIC, and countries with a population of 10 or 15 million are members of the OIC. There are 57 countries, and I think if you add up all those 57 countries, इनकी population जो है will be less than the Indian Muslims, barring of course if you exclude Indonesia. The problem is very acute because India की जो neighborhood policy है, neighborhood first policy है, that appears to be failing. नरेंद्र मोदी ने ये पॉलिसी बनाई थी and it was a very good idea, पर उसके पीछे you need some spunk. I mean, you just can't make a policy without any spunk, without any economic benefits. What people are interested in is economic benefits. What economic benefit we are going to get from you? क्या मिलने वाला हमें? And though in the last budget, India has allocated certain amount of money for the various countries, but that is chicken feed, 200 million, 300 million dollars and all that. और हमारा comparison होता है चाइना के साथ, where we have, Chinese have given almost 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 billion dollars even. हालांकि most of the countries realize कि ये चाइना doles देता है, they are not without strings, and the net result is that those countries collapse. An example is Sri Lanka, which has collapsed economically, और इतना बुरा collapse हुआ कि उनको 99 years के लिए they had to lease the Patota port to China. That means the part of Chinese Lankan territory was handed over to China for 99 years. Similarly in Pakistan, उन्होंने ग्वाडर पोर्ट जो है तकरीबन चाइना को हैंड ओवर कर दिया हुआ है. So the question is that despite all this and people realizing that China is a danger, yet they are preferring China to India. Even Bangladesh में अभी तख्ता पलट हो गया. You know, the Begum had to run away from Bangladesh. But problem is not that. Problem is that she had gone to China for a loan of some $3 or $4 billion, and she didn't get anything. She got just some peanuts of $100 million, and she had to break her visit and come back home. And earlier also she had given, I think, a naval base to the Chinese in the Bay of Bengal. So how would you say that Bangladesh was a friend of India? I don't think Sheikh Haseena was a friend of India. She was using India to further her dictatorial powers. Now look at all the neighborhood countries. Our problem is the same with everywhere, whether it's Myanmar or Nepal, Bhutan and Pakistan. That means the neighborhood policy of India is becoming a zero, frankly. And there are reasons for it, वो भी हम discuss करेंगे. The first reason is a lack of a solid leadership at the top. You see, मैंने कई बार लिखा है that Narendra Modi is one of the good prime ministers India had after 1947, but he must learn how to bite, and he must know how to chew. You can't just roar and not chew and bite, and still the country is going to respect you. Now we know that in Bangladesh, the Hindus are harassed. And I have seen videos of so many Hindus being strung up from the lamppost. And it's a very sad occurrence, and the people there are taking photographs and enjoying themselves. And yet, there is no statement from the Indian Prime Minister on this issue. He did not condemn Bangladesh, something which Netanyahu or the Americans would have done if any of the Americans had been similarly assaulted and killed. So this is the weakness which India has got. I think it's an inherent weakness in Hinduism to try and placate everybody. You can't placate it. It's not possible. And the old saying that might is right is really what matters. And if you've got an army of about, say, 1.2 million men, then what the hell is that army doing sitting on its haunches? And if this sort of atrocities were going on in Bangladesh, why the hell didn't the Indian army be ordered to intervene, at least bomb and create a psychosis of fear in a country which is 1/50th the power of India? I'm bringing this fact out to you that our neighborhood policy is greatly flawed. And look at what we have done in Sri Lanka. Nothing, zero. What have we done there? The Lankas go and catch about 200, 300 of our fishermen every time, put them in behind bars, and we gift it to them as a goodwill the Kachavetu Island. Why have we to give it to them? I couldn't understand it. It's an island which was with the Raja of Rameshwaram for a long time, and we gave it to the Lankans. And Lanka was sitting in the lap of China till the economy collapsed and the president Rajapaksa had to flee the country, just like Sheikh Haseena has fled the country. I think Sheikh Haseena was such a strong friend of India and that India could rely on her. And I'll just test one way. People keep talking of special strategic relationship between India and Bangladesh. What is the relationship? Bangladesh was voting along with the OIC to condemn India for human rights violations in Kashmir. Did they abstain? Did they go against India? They never did. They wouldn't do it. So let's be very clear, sir, that the Indian policy is deeply flawed. And deeply flawed is just not the word. We must be very sure that what we do, we earn the benefit of it. We don't just sit down and say, all's well, we got this thing, we got that. You get nothing from any country. Nepal, I'll touch on that. That's a country that's had a relationship with India for almost 2,000 years. We have an open border with Nepal, and about 2 to 3 million Nepalese are working in India, earning their bread and butter. Yet this country has got a Marxist regime and is pro-China. And at the instigation of the Chinese, they have gone and claimed certain areas which have been for decades part of India. And they say those Kala Chonki and those areas must be handed over to Nepal. What the hell, I tell you, I really can't understand. And the Indian government just keeping silent. I haven't heard any statement from the Prime Minister condemning Nepal for this. I mean, what's he aiming for? The Nobel Prize? He's not going to get it. The Nobel Prize for Peace, he won't get it. He can try anything. And now he's got a stunt of going to Ukraine. He's going to antagonize the Russians. What the hell is he going to bring peace there? The Chinese are much ahead of Mr. Narendra Modi. Actually, very sad. But he doesn't seem to be knowing what's happening in the country also. And I fault him for it. There's been murder, mayhem, arson going on in Manipur for almost months and almost 2 years, and he never went even once to that place. And now he's going to Wayanad after a long time when Rahul Gandhi has already been there once. So, you have got to be pragmatic. You can't be on a pedestal. Now, I'm going to say something else, in my next video. Please go through it. It's my astrological video, and it concerns Narendra Modi's future. I won't tell it here now. I'll wait for the next video which comes, and I expect you all to see that, watch it, and link it with this video. So what I'm saying is the India's neighborhood policy, I think, is a total failure. Now, China is also a neighbor. Now, what about the neighborhood policy there? It's a zero. Chinese are, even when Modi is the prime minister, I think, as per my reports, about 4,000 square miles of territory have been taken over by the Chinese. Islamic slicing. And they had a hand-to-hand combat with the Indians, and I think over 20 of our brave soldiers died. It's a very sad occurrence. And we couldn't even get medical attention to them straight away, while the Chinese could lift their wounded and take them away by helicopter. There was nothing like that done here. So, gentlemen, there are so many things involved. At every stage, we find India is the laggard. Now, here's the biggest country in the world in terms of population, able to win just not a single gold medal. I mean, it's a bloody shame. Why the hell should we go and compete there and insult the Indian nation? It's better like Russia didn't go this time. Fair enough. And that's what India should have done. They're just digressing. I'm talking of basically on the Indian neighbourhood policy. And now in Kashmir, there was a lot of talk by Narendra Modi. I've done surgical strikes, we've done this, we had bombed Balakot. But in the last month, I think 12 terrorist incidents took place in the Poonch area, on the border of Jammu with Pakistan. And I am not aware of any terrorists have been killed or something like that. And then we had the news that the chief of the BSF in the border sector had been removed because of inefficiency, as a vast number of filtrators from from Pakistan come inside. That means the Indian government is practically clueless about Kashmir. And clueless because they never enforce things properly. Now you have Section 35, which gives free access to Indians in Kashmir. Yet at the same time, there's a provision there that you must stay 10 years in Kashmir to get the citizenship of Kashmir. I think if I'm right. And while another says 1 year, what the hell is going on? Why do you have it? That means you're watering down everything to please the local people, and the local people are still not pleased. They're going to vote for you, never. Like they tried a lot of stunts with the Muslims, trying to entice them, the lower class, so that they were getting the benefits of the government schemes and they would vote for the BJP. Nobody did. Not a single man voted en masse, and the BJP lost 60 seats in parliament. And it's very right, very correct. You keep on blaming X, Y, Z and all that. But I don't know how far it is the in thing. I mean, it is correct that you got to pinpoint something, but then if it's something known to you, you got to guard against it. If you knew that America, Pakistan is conspiring Bangladesh, what was the Indian intelligence and Mr. Modi doing to counter it? But as I told you, Sheikh Haseena was not your friend also, and now even Bhutan is a little worried because we don't have the military power to defend Bhutan. And we tried it in Doklam, the famous Doklam incident a couple of years back. And the Indian army made a hue and cry there that we won't withdraw, but they finally withdrew, and that area is almost with the Chinese. And China is now negotiating directly with Bhutan because Bhutan realized, well, we can rely on the Indians, and what's the use? So, gentlemen, it's a very sad state of affairs. I know what I'm going to tell you all now on it. India's foreign policy, particularly the neighborhood policy, is a total failure, and I hope people realize it. I find lots of commentators who are supposed to be the pro BJP type just talking arrant nonsense. That India is a Vishav Guru, India is this thing. India, I don't think India is any Vishav Guru. I travel all over the world, and now after the Olympics, India's reputation is at the lowest. It's a shame that a Pakistani went and won the gold medal, there, though had only 7 competitors. So see the ratio 1:7. We got 112 chaps sent there for the Olympics athletes and couldn't win one. So it's 0 to 112. So where's the problem? Pakistan's way ahead in number of places in the Olympic standings. So we got to know which side the bread is buttered. Build up your character, build up your strength, and don't just get frightened of people and say you're going to placate and try to think I'm going to get the Nobel Prize, you're going to get anything. So, gentlemen, I don't have anything more to say on this video. This neighborhood policy of India, I think we better forget about it. India must treat everybody on its merits. We could even deal Maldives in present. In that way, I respect Rajiv Gandhi. If you remember, he ordered the army to move into the Maldives way back, I think, in '87, and the entire terrorist group which had come to Maldives was destroyed. And here was the Maldivian president blowing hot and cold, and there's no statement from Modi at all. And now Jaishankar is there for 3 days to try and mend fences. What fences? That's a Muslim country. They don't want to mend fences with you. What the hell are you going there and mending fences for? They're not going to be on your side. Are they going to give you naval bases? They've already thrown your troops which are there to safeguard them against piracy. They send them away. So you look at every stage, I think it's a lose-lose situation. But it can be made into a win-win situation. It depends on character. It depends on the way you go and deal with these people. Bangladesh, more aggression was required. Nepal, same thing. Lanka is actually in your bag. You can surround Lanka, give a quarantine, do anything. Same with the Maldives. China just can't intervene in these two places. Yes, there's a problem in Bhutan and Nepal, but that's got to be faced. And Pakistan has also to be faced. You can't just have a propaganda, surgical strike, these things. That's all over, gone. The result is zero. Something has got to be done. The democratic change has been brought about. Now look at what China has done. Now I understand, one of the videos I was going through, that if a Muslim wishes to have a child in China, it's got to get the concurrence of the government. It's a tremendous way to control the population. And almost about 200,000 Muslims are in correction camps, the Uyghurs who were revolting. So you've got to call a spade a spade. And none of the Muslim countries have ever said a word against China. And here we have Turkey and other countries just shouting against India, both in the UN and the OIC meetings. So I hope the Indian people will realize. And we have something which the other countries don't have. That is a fifth column. And the fifth column, I have no hesitation in saying, is Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I think he'd gone to America. He had even meeting with David Liu. And that man is a slimy man, slimy chap, whose responsibility is Southeast Asia. And he's carried out the regime change in Pakistan. He carried out the regime change in Bangladesh. And they're looking for the regime change in India. I don't know what's going to happen, gentlemen. I hope you like my video. Share it with your friends. I hope so. Come back. It'll be a pleasure to talk to you again. Goodbye and God bless.